My name is Alex, and I'm going to be hanging out with you here for a little bit today. So for today, what we're going to be doing is looking at how to grow your giving with Applos Text to Give. A couple of housekeeping things. One is this is coming from Applos, so we're going to be going through kind of the subject matter of what Text to Give is, but it is going to be displayed and talked about from the lens of being an Applos user. So if you are an Applos user, this will make sense. If you are not an Applos user, it may not at times, and that's okay. Hopefully that the content is still applicable. And so if you have any more directed questions about Applos, let me know. Also, this session is being recorded, so if you miss a portion of it, or if the audio is dropping out, or you need to cut out a little bit early, no worries. We will send out the recording to you once we're done. So, yep. So let's take a look at how to grow your giving with Applos Text to Give. So again, for those of you who have been around Applos for a little while, you know that we don't do just fund accounting. We do kind of across the gamut. Anything that you would need to use software for your church or nonprofit. Today is kind of specifically for nonprofits, but we do fund accounting, we do donor management, we do CRM, website building, budgeting, the like. So in order for you to kind of drive the growth of your organization, it's one thing to kind of keep track of stuff, but then how do you actually keep going? How do you grow? How do you foster more donations? How do you keep engaged and kind of do the next thing to take you to the next level? Well, that's what we want to help with. So your accounting may be the backbone of the back office, but your income keeps the doors open and fuels your mission, and that is why Applos is here. We are doing our very best to make simple and streamlined software in order to receive payments and also help you grow your giving. So let's take a look at why Text to Give works. So this whole concept of Text to Give is a relatively new thing. People have been giving to entities, churches and nonprofits alike, for long time. For as long as they've been around, there's been kind of a fueling of donations to these entities that do philanthropic or social kind of needs. Back when it was only cash and checks, that's how people donated. Then once they had credit cards, they could swipe credit cards or donate online once the internet came around. And so this texting method has been along for the last few years here. And so why would you want to kind of implement this new channel for your entity? Well, a couple of reasons here is mobile giving tools are essential for the next generation of supporters. You can reach new donors with mobile giving. Text to Give gives you access to tech-savvy donors that don't carry cash or checks. A lot of people make fun of the whole millennial crowd, but that is largely true. Paper money is weird. You typically don't carry around in your wallet, and usually you Cash App or Venmo people and pay for things online. So this whole demographic of people might not have money with them when they need to donate or there's a call to action. So giving a text to give option would allow them to do that literally just from their little pocket computer here that they are likely spending all of their time on anyways. They can now use that to actually donate to your organization. You can also grow your giving with a faster response. So a donor may forget or get distracted if they have to remember to give later. So if you empower them to give now from their phone, that decreases the amount of time that it takes for them to forget, right? So I think about that a lot, even in terms of an online donation form. I mean, we've been doing online donation forms for years now, and that is already more convenient than having to carry cash or checks. But also it requires them to go do something else later. Go click this link or type in this link or follow this link and then donate when able. And so unless there's kind of a specific route for them to do it right then and there, it's still something that then would require them to remember or a call to action of them to follow up on later. So texting, again, puts the power right into their pocket. They're most likely texting right now anyways. So just text someone new, and we'll see how easy that is here in just a little bit. And then lastly is to save time for your team. So online gifts are automatically tracked for contribution statements and in your bookkeeping in Applos. So if someone does text to give or donates online for that matter in any form or fashion through Applos, that is automatically flowed through the system automatically. So you don't have to enter donor record, you don't have to keep track of the accounting, the deposit, nothing. Everything is kind of automated for you as it relates to posting and keeping track of stuff. Another good option is to implement text to give for events. So not just as an ongoing option, but a very specific option for an event, which I know looks different these days. I mean, even this picture here shows people well within 6 feet of each other in a gathering of more than 2 people or whatever we're allowed to not be in a gathering of. But when everything kind of goes back to normal, or as you begin to implement, events again, text to give is super helpful. And text to give works for everyone. I mean, probably everybody at this point has a cell phone. It doesn't even need to be a smartphone for text to give, just a cell phone that can do text messaging. So don't lose donors by asking them to wait in line at the table, pull out a checkbook, or remember to give later at home. Making giving easy at the moment, what you do is you make giving easy at the moment they are asked to give. So here's a couple of ideas. One is you can include text to give on your pledge cards and program. So the thing that you're handing out, the piece of paper, can just simply have a phone number listed right there that just says text blank to this number, and you're good to go. You can also show your toll-free number on the screen during your presentation, or you can include it in your follow-up thank you emails so that you can extend the impact. So again, just a couple of ideas. And someone who did those ideas is Joe Elliott here, the founder of Catalyst Collective, one of our customers, and they implemented text to give at one of their events. I won't read his testimonial here, but it's there if you want to read it. What they did is they basically did those 3 exact things. They did an event called, it's their annual event, fundraising event called Catalyst Got Talent. And this is when they implemented the text to give. They did the instructions on the pledge card. They also provided the phone number on the presentation slide. And they did a call for support during the presentation, calling attention to the text to give. And what they saw was in the first 45 days, 6 weeks after the event, they saw a 20% growth in active donors and a 28% growth in online donations. So not only did they grow their active donor base by 1/5, I mean, that is significant growth. That's a lot of new people donating to your entity. The donation growth, the revenue growth was actually more than the new donor growth. So not only did it get new donors, it increased their whole giving by even more than that. So that means that people that were already donors probably likely started to give more or more regularly from just implementing that one method. So again, that is not by no means are we guaranteeing those results. You could be more, you could be less, just depends on what your situation is. But all that to illustrate, literally enabling people to have the power in their pocket to do this is much different than it has been in the past. So it can't hurt, right? So how does text to give work? So in a few minutes here, we're going to take a look at the software and just see how quick and simple it is to actually set it up on the software side. So once it's set up on the software side and you share that number, then what does that process look like to your donors then? So from the donor side, so let's say that Alex is a donor and I'm going to give $25 to the nonprofit. From my angle, I get the phone number, I start a text message, and I text the number, and I have 2 options. I can either text give and then an amount, so give 25, or I can say give an amount and a code that's been provided to me for me to specifically follow with my text. The code is optional. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute, but the example of a code would be like if you were doing a specific call to action or an event or some sort of campaign or something. That can just be something that you say, text, give an amount into whatever relief, and that's going to go specifically to, a particular purpose or combination of things that you want, which again, we'll look at here in a minute. But 2 options, either give an amount or give amount and code. So I text that. If I am a new text to give donor, so it doesn't really matter if I've done online donations or have a giving history, this is just specifically for the path of a text to give. If I am a new text to give donor, I will then get an automated text that will say, thanks. Also, it's going to ask me to confirm my basic contact information. So I'm going to enter my name, my email, confirm my phone number, just kind of the basics there. And again, that will automatically update Applos's contact database with that information. I'm also going to confirm my gift amount. So it's going to say, are you sure you typed in 25? Is that right? Do you want to change that amount? And then I'm going to confirm the purpose of the gift, which is the code. Or if I texted without a code, it would then give me an option of what code I want to gift to. And then it's going to ask me if this is a one-time or a reoccurring gift, if I want to make this a reoccurring gift. And if so, I can say yes, I can check the box, and then it'll ask me what the interval should be. And then lastly, I'm going to enter a payment method to a secure form that is encrypted and PCI compliant. So I text, it says, great, thanks. Is this the amount that you want to give? Is this the purpose? And is this a reoccurring? Enter your name and your email and confirm your phone number, and then enter your payment method, either a credit card or a bank. And then it's done. So then that commits the donation. And then I get an automated text with a confirmation, so I know that it all went through. It's going to say thank you for your gift. Also within the first 15 minutes, I have the option of undoing it or making it reoccurring if I wanted to make that choice after the fact. I am also going to get an email within 30 minutes of another confirmation, but then that also gives me there's a little bit of a call to action in that automated email, which prompts people to create a free Aplos profile account, if you will. So unrelated to whatever organization they just gave to, this is my donor path into Aplos to create a login so that I can log in, I can see my donor history, I can edit my reoccurring gift, I can update my payment method, I can download a contribution statement. In fact, if I donate to multiple entities that use Aplos, I will see the full giving scope history across all those entities in one place. And then the funds after the donation are collected into the organization's WePay account and then transferred to the bank. So really, it's kind of a very simple process. You enable text to give, you get your phone number. You share that phone number with people, they text it, they confirm their donation value, and then they get thanked automatically through the text and email. And then the money is collected into WePay, who is our processor partner, and then that gets swept over to your bank, either weekly or monthly, however often you've set that interval. I think you could do daily as well. And then again, from the donor side, if the next time that I donate is through a text, then returning donors can give just with a simple text. Their next gift is completed in seconds. They can text a code with their gift to send a gift for a different purpose, and there's no need to re-enter the payment information. So once I'm on file, if that wasn't a reoccurring gift, and now I'm saying, all right, give 100, and that's going to remember that I'm Alex, here's my contact information, here's my email, here's my payment method, and it's going to say, okay, are you sure? Yep. Done. And then it's just going to process the donation. And it was literally that easy. I didn't have to mail anything, lick a stamp. I didn't have to go to a form. I just went to that text message thread, said give 100, and then it did it. So there's from the donor side. Again, that email that's given after every donation will give a little call to action for them to create a donor profile or a My Aplos page. Each online donor can sign into their donor portal to view their donations, download the contribution statements, or manage their reoccurring donations. A little testimonial here from Elaine, who's a church member, says, OMG, this was so much easier for me. I don't have to be prepared ahead of time with my checkbook. I just click on what I want to give and I'm done. Then when I want to give to a special missions collection or event or campaign, whatever the unique code is, I can quickly give to that too. So as far as the security goes, Aplos is, it probably goes without saying, but obviously security and privacy is of the utmost importance for us. And so I'm going to read these bullets. If you have more specific questions on our security or privacy, kind of more technical answer, I can get it for you, but that is not my expertise. But what I do know is donors can give confidently knowing that their personal information is protected. There is automatic donor data collection. So again, what they submit for their contact information is automatically saved into our system over the secure platform without any extra imports or exports. So you don't have to export your contact information from the processor and then upload it to your Aplos to keep things straight. We do that automatically for you. There's also payment security. So a PCI compliant processing form and systems using the same level of protection as your bank. So however safe you feel with your money at the bank, you can feel as safe with Aplos and WePay. For data encryption, Aplos includes a multi-level firewall protection and 256-bit SSL encryption. I'm hoping that makes sense to somebody in the room because it means nothing to me. But again, if you need a more technical answer, I'm happy to get it for you. And then the secure donor portal. So donors can log into a secure area to view their donation history, see giving statements, download contribution statements, and update their payment information if needed as well. So the setup of this, we're going to look at in the software here in just a minute, but generally, this is where the language shifts a little bit. If you are an Aplos user, this will make sense. If you're not, this will not make sense, at least a little bit. But for the most part, what you do is in Aplos, you have purposes. Purposes are what you choose or what people choose to say, I'm giving to blank, or I'm giving for this particular reason. It's like, why are they giving? That's a purpose. Purposes are then linked to income accounts, funds, and potentially tags on the accounting side, and that's what keeps the kind of bookkeeping or the accounting side straight. But when you set up text to give, basically what you're going to do is you already have all your purposes. So then what you do is you just say, okay, I want these purposes, specific ones to be used for text to give. And then you would create codes. So instead of having, this long string of text that might be your purpose name, you can create a shorter code that is only alpha characters, so no numbers. But like for instance, animal supplies is one of those purposes listed there. If I didn't want to just have that long string, I just wanted to tell people text give an amount and then supplies, then they know that they're texting or giving for supplies, right? And that's going to go to that specific purpose. So option one is you can basically just add the list of purposes there, and they say give an amount, and then it'll give them the options of whatever is listed there. So it'll say, okay, do you want to give to the shelter, supplies, or general? So that's option one. Option two is texting a specific code. So you can do an event, you can do a fundraising campaign. Let's say that you wanted to, you had an animal shelter that you were looking to do some renovations or expand or something. And so you wanted to kind of provide a specific call to action for shelter stuff. You can say, all right, we're going to do this campaign. It's this, month-long, thing. Everybody's going to shave their head if we hit a certain goal or something like that. So what we want to do is just give you the option to do this. So give an amount and then shelter. And that's going to be kind of the very specific call to action that would then route those donations to the animal shelter purpose, which again has ramifications on your accounting through income accounts, funds, and tax. And there's a couple ways to track text to give gifts. So let's say that you've done this, text to give is turned on, you're receiving donations. Now, how do you like report or keep track of that stuff? Well, a couple of options. One is there is an online giving report, which would show a breakdown of gift by online source type, including text to give. And it's going to show their gift amount, purpose, and fee. There's also a donations by contact report, which would show all gifts, text included, that are automatically tracked in your donations by contact report for contribution statements. You can also look at a reoccurring donors page to monitor new reoccurring donors and the status of their gifts. And then since Aplos is both the donor side and the accounting side, every time somebody donates, it uses a purpose, which impacts the accounting. So then if you wanted to go run and see a budget report or see how you did, based on a certain team or tag or department or location or income account or budget line item or fund or whatever on the accounting side has been impacted by the text to give implementation, you can go run those reports on the accounting side and look at it from that angle as well. So what does text to give cost? Well, there are two costs associated with text to give. One is the feature itself. This is in addition to the Aplos platform. So to turn on text to give would be a $20 a month upgrade to your Aplos subscription. A couple of things with that is one, today, March 31st is the last day for you to go to your dashboard, and on the right-hand side, kind of the upper right of your dashboard, there's a call to action there to enable text to give for free for 3 months. So you can waive basically this $20 a month upgrade for 3 months if you turn it on today. Tomorrow, we will be doing a similar promotion, but it's only for 2 months. So if you want to skip 3 months of this, do it today. If you want to skip 2, you can do it next month. But $20 a month upgrade for the subscription for the feature. And then there is a processing fee per transaction, and that equates to 3% plus 30 cents for credit and debit cards, 2% plus 30 cents for ACH or bank drafts. There are lower rates available as well for ACH specifically. So if you want to inquire about that due to a large volume or something, let us know. And then international and Amex cards are typically processed at 1.1% higher. So that means that the credit and debit version goes to 4.1% plus 30 cents. And then all of that is also, if you are, those rates basically are for the 501c3 organizations. So if you are not a 501c3, then those rates are 1% higher typically. So those were going to be a little bit increased there. And then as a caveat, you must also have a US or Canadian bank and a WePay account in order to kind of commit this process. So that is the pricing behind text to give. And if you have any questions or any clarity, or if you want some help setting this up or using the feature, our support team is awesome and ready to help at any time, as so long as it's between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. But we have a couple of options in the software. There's a little chat bubble in the bottom right that you can use to write in. There's also email and phone support. There's an online support center, which I'll show you. There's a text to give guide that you can see there that's super helpful in getting set up. And then we also do these things, live webinars and personalized trainings throughout the week. So let us know if you have any questions. And that is generally the bulk of the presentation there. What I'd like to do now is actually go over to Aplos, and I'm going to look at a live demo here. So we get my screen here. So I'm going to go into just a demo account, but I'm going to show you where text to give is and then how easy it is to kind of get started here, okay? So once you're on your dashboard, up in the top here, there's donations, and then you just hover over online donations and go to text to give. Now, if you were to hit this page for the first time, there's going to be a little splash page there, a little not pop up, but the screen that you land on would basically say, okay, do you want to turn this on? You'd say yes, so you turn it on. If you already have a WePay account, from using online donations or something, then that'll just automatically pick up with your existing WePay account. Otherwise, you would have to create one. And just for the record, that creation process, you can start it and then come back later. That still creates the account. It's just you can't receive up more than, I think it's $500 before you finish your setup process. So you can get started super quick. If you do the setup of WePay, basically it asks you for your personal information, your organization's information, and your bank account for the money to be swept over to. And that's generally it. It doesn't take very long at all, so long as you have your bank account number handy. So even from start to finish, even on the long version, it might take a couple of minutes. But once you've turned on the feature and then gone through the WePay account creation process, if you need to, then you will land here, and it's basically going to say, all right, cool, you're ready to go. Here is your text to give number. So this number can now be texted right now. You can do it from your own phone. You can share that number. There's no cooling or period that you need to let this kind of officialize. It's ready to go. So now you've got your number. Again, you have two options. You can either say to people, text give and an amount, and then it will give them the option to choose what purpose they want to give to. Or you could say give an amount and then a specific code. So those are kind of the two options there. So you tell people, do one of those options to this number, and then the purposes here then are what they can either give specifically to, or the choices that they will get when they just text give an amount. So again, this is not going to be the full list of your purposes here. Your full list of purposes is over on the screen up at the top here. So this is specifically the purposes that you want as options for text to give. So I would say, I want to add a purpose. I'm going to select what purpose I want here. And then I'm going to create a shorthand code here. So I'm going to say relief or something like that. And then save and close. So what that's going to do is it's going to add it. I already have it, but whatever. It's going to add it to my list here. And then I can then give people this code. Someone in a previous session had asked, can you do this for in memoriam stuff? So yep, if Alex had passed away, then you can create a code, that is mem Alex. So I can now tell people to text give an amount to specifically mem Alex that would go to that particular purpose, and then route to whatever income account and fund and tag combination that purpose is impacting. But that's it. I mean, that is generally what you do. Come here, you turn it on, create your WePay account if you need to, and then give people your number and tell them to either text give an amount or give an amount and a specific code that you give them. Add whatever purposes you want as options, and you're off to the races. Now you can share this, you can provide it at events, you can just make it a part of your normal kind of vernacular of what you're offering as options to donate to your entity, and you are good to go. So that is text to give. Hopefully the presentation there was helpful, and the tour of the software, short as it was helpful, kind of knowing where it would then manifest. Two more things I wanted to just show real quick is back on your dashboard. I already have this turned on, so it's not going to show, but over on the right-hand side on your dashboard, this is where it would say, sign up now to get a couple of free months of text to give. So make sure to do that call to action if you'd like. And then in the top here, this little question mark would actually take you to our support center. And here you can type in text to give, and there is a text to give guide. Now this guide is going to go through generally the setup side of what we covered here today. So it's going to give some FAQs, going to give some kind of brief information. There's a video about it, but it's going to say, here's how to enable it, here's how to confirm your WePay account, here's how to get your number, here's how to share it, so on and so forth. So if you ever have questions on the specifics of how to get this set up, this text to give guide is super helpful. All right, well, I'm going to pause myself for just a minute and then we'll go through some open Q&A time. So if you have any questions, feel free to submit those now, and then I'll be back in just a minute to answer those for you. Okay, got a couple questions here we're going to start with. The first one here is asking, so it won't add a brand new contact, but will simply add text to give to a donor's existing record. So for example, if John Smith has donated 50 in the past through a check, but now wants to text to donate, there will only be one record for John Smith with two different donation types. Kind of. So let's say that Alex was a cash or a check donor. So basically in the Apple's record, there is Alex Acree and maybe an address. And since then I've been giving, cash or check. Now let's say I want to do online giving. So I'm now going to submit the online donation form from your website, right? So not even text to give, but just hypothetically, I'm doing the online donations for the first time. I'm now providing for the first time an email. So if that email is now kind of what I'm distinguished by from the online donations path, then when I get added to the Applo system, there will be two of me. There's going to be one record of me that was for cash and check, and one that is now for online donations. Same with the text to give. If they text to give and provide a different email address than what was already on file with Applos, then it will create a new distinct record. If they're going to say that I'm going to type in the same, Alex at Applos email address, and that's what you already had on file for Applos, it would simply just update the contact record. But either way, no matter what happens, if there's already somebody and it gets created or created again, what you can do is you can actually merge those contact records, which would retain phone number, email, address, contact data, giving history. It's going to retain everything. It's just going to merge them into one record. So hopefully that helps. It's possible that a new contact would be added, but you can actually go to the people screen here and go to your contact list. And then over on the right, there's this little drop down here, and it's going to say duplicate contacts. So I'd click on that. And then if there were any duplicates, it would actually detect them here, and it's going to detect that based on name or email or some sort of combination of the two. And so if there are duplicate records, you can then use this screen to merge those records into one. So it's pretty easy cleanup, but hopefully that helps there. We run our financing through C. Will there be confusion as to what org a person is donating to during this process, and how can we message beforehand to mitigate that? Yeah, I think I'm not familiar with C specifically, but I think for the most part, what they donate to, if you provide them a specific code, then that is generally what they're going to be donating to. So long as that code is to a purpose and that purpose is properly mapped to whatever you need it to be mapped to, then that donation will go in specifically through that channel. If they're left with the option, right? So like if you're saying here's a lot of purposes that you can choose from, and so you just tell them to just text give in an amount, then they will be then given that choice of, okay, well, what are you wanting to give to? And then that's where the options come in. So I would say it's probably just related to what options and what codes you create there, Amy. But let me know if I'm missing something there. That might be something that's unique to you guys and your setup. So if that's the case, then we can always do an offline session too to make sure that we're kind of coaching that correctly. Can you customize a text message to donors, prompting them to text to give? Example, happy Thanksgiving, help us feed our community, text to give. Yeah, so generally, there's two kind of features here. So one is text to give. So text to give is simply the ability for people to text a number as a path in. Now, how you communicate that number to people is then completely up to you. You can do that through an email, you can do that through an online website, you can do that through your own text message blast that you want to do. If it was a text message blast, we actually have a different feature called bulk texting, which would allow you to basically text a number of people at one time, and then have them then provide the number there for them. But actually, that's a good question. I don't know that off the top of my head if that's the same number. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not sure if that's the same number, but yeah. But however you want to share that, however you want to customize that message, if it's an email or campaign or a letter, whatever you want to do, that's completely up to you guys and how you want to share that number. So specifically for text to give, it's just you have a number that people can text. However you then want to share that number is up to you. Do we have to do anything specific to ensure we will receive the 3 months of text to give for free if we set it up today? Nothing specific other than you do have to kind of click in from that button in your dashboard. So just make sure to do that. That will then automatically discount the feature for 3 months down to 0 on your subscription. So other than that, there's nothing to do there. What is the Applos fee or percentage of donations? So there's kind of a blended rate. There is an Applos and a WePay portion. However, the split of that is really only known by our finance and admin teams. So for the customer side, it's 3% for credit and debit card, 2% for ACH, and then specifically on the ACH side, we are able to go lower depending on what the volume is. So if that's a need of yours, then let us know and we can always work with you on that. But for the most part, it's 3% plus 30 cents or 2% plus 30 cents for ACH. And then again, Amex and international cards are 1.1% higher, so 4.1%. We are under contract, and so I don't have the button to add text to give. How do I enable it? We already have a WePay account from online giving. Yeah, if you are under contract, so if you are an advanced user and have a contract that you've signed, then your subscription is relatively locked in. However, you also have a person at Applos that you can contact to make subscription changes. So if you haven't already been in contact with them, it should be either Dan Kimball or Jane Fawcett. One of those names should sound familiar to you. If it doesn't, then by all means just contact our support team and then we can get you routed in with whoever you need there. But they would basically work with you on enabling that feature and what that would do to your annual subscription. So I heard we can close the feature and reopen it if we want to halt using it or use it only for specific months. If this is true, how do you close and reopen it? Yeah, so once it's turned on, again, if you're not in contract, if you, if you're not locked into your subscription, if you can make changes, then you can do that through the subscriptions page in Applos. You can turn on and off the feature, whatever you need to do, perfectly fine. A couple of things with that though. One is you're not always guaranteed to get the same phone number when you turn it back on. So if you have a specific number, that's what people have, gotten accustomed to texting for an event or something, and then you turn it off, and then they try to donate, it's not gonna work. It's gonna kill that donation. Likewise, when you turn it back on, you might get a whole new phone number to provide to people, so they wouldn't be able to pick up with their same text message thread. Like they would have to create a new kind of path in. And then it's not always guaranteed, but they might also have to enter their payment method again too, just depending on what the phone number situation is. So there are definitely advantages to keeping it on, but I totally understand it is possible to turn on and off as needed. But just keep in mind that the phone number might be different. So same kind of question from Melinda here as far as paying for months that you don't expect to use it. You can turn it on and off. It's up to you, but just keep in mind the phone number might not be the same. And then your second question there was, can the donors offer to pay the transaction fees? Right now, through text to give, there is not an option for them to pay transaction fees. That is an option for our online forms for like donating through the website. But text to give does not currently have the option of paying the transaction fees. However, that is something that we are looking at adding in the shorter term. I don't have an ETA for you there, but we are aware of that distinction and would love to provide that option. Are donors required to set up an account with Applos? No, not necessarily. They don't have to do the My Applos thing. That is simply just a convenience factor. So, and again, that call to action is in the email that gets sent to them after their donation. So they're going to get an email. They can then sign up for a My Applos page there. There's no cost or anything to that. It's just simply a portal for them to be able to see and manage this stuff. So we recommend people do it if they have a payment method on file that's used for like a reoccurring donation or something, just because that gives them the power to manage that. So can I get access to the slides you're using, particularly the pricing slide? Yeah, I believe the slide deck is shared. If not, I'll work with, so our marketing team kind of coordinates these sessions, and so they will be the ones to follow up with the recording as well as any other information. So I'll be sure to share the slide deck with them to see if they can give that to you as well. I don't see the free trial on my dashboard page. If that's it's possible that I would have to look at your specific org there, Phoebe, to know why you're not seeing it there. But if it's not there, it might already be on. So double check that. And then likewise, it might be that you're under contract, and so it might not be showing. So I don't know what organization you specifically are. So we can take a look at that. If that's something you want to take advantage of, what I'd recommend is to use the bottom right there. the intercom, the chat thing when you're in Applos to contact our support team, and then we can kind of troubleshoot that with you and get that turned on for you. Let's see. Next question is here. Are there any messaging or graphics available for upload to Facebook as far as advertising the beginning of text to give? It's a good question. I don't think we've provided any assets specifically. Yeah, I don't think so. I could be wrong there. I don't think we have any assets that we've shared as far as like getting set up and recommending, but I can double check on that, Brandon. And is there a way to limit the options or purposes that are made available to the donors? Yes, it is. So when you're on the text to give screen here, so donations, text to give, these purposes that you add down here are the options. So if you didn't want anything specific, then you would just have one here, and that's general donation. So then everybody just kind of gets routed into that one option. Let's see. Have you ever seen someone requesting a refund from a text donation? I personally have not. I think it has happened. It's a relatively new feature for us. It's only been around for a couple of weeks now. So I think it has happened. And quite honestly, the refund process is no more or less complicated than it typically is through WePay. So those refunds, so what we would recommend when donors ask for that is actually contact you guys as the administrators and the users of the program, because you also own the WePay account. We're just the software. So if donors ever ask us, we typically say, you need to talk to the org. So they would request that of you, of saying, hey, please refund me some money. And then you would go into your WePay account, and then there's an option to refund donations there, whether they were text or online. It doesn't matter at that point. It's just all through WePay. Can I get help from Applos in building a contact list? Sure. Yeah, our support team can help with any questions that you have about the software, any needs that you've got. Again, you can give us a call. You can send us a little message here in the bottom right. There's this intercom thing here. So you can start a conversation with us. Our support lines and staff are available from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And there is weekend support, but they're basically checking in a couple of times throughout the weekend. So it's not a designated hour. It's just we're making sure nothing catches fire over a couple of days. So. And is there a limited dollar amount on text to give? No, there's no limits. You can receive as much money as you possibly can imagine through text to give. No limit to it, and it doesn't scale at all either. The feature is $20 a month, and then there's just a transaction fee with every donation that comes in. So that's it. There's no volume. If you start receiving thousands and thousands of dollars, it's the same $20 and same transaction fee. Now, that being said, we do have lower ACH rates. So if you do expect a lot of ACH volume to be coming through, then contact our success or support or sales or whatever. Contact somebody with Applos and we'll get you in the right spot. And we can get you more information on lower options there. Where do you designate how often the donations are transferred to your bank account? So that is something that is set up with the with the WePay side. There's a weird combination of syllables there. So when you create your WePay account, you then have a unique WePay account that you can log into. And when you log in there, then you can edit those settings. You can designate that I think the options are daily, weekly, or monthly. There might be more, but yeah. And that is the last question I see at the moment. We do still have a few minutes here. If there's no other questions, then I'm happy to just let you go a few minutes early, but yeah, let us know. Another question here is, I'm looking into signing up for Applos tomorrow, April 1st, which if you sign up tomorrow, it will be April Fool's, so it will not work, just kidding. You can sign up tomorrow. If the 3-month sale ends today, how much time does it take for me to sign up for Applos and sign up? So if you were to go to applos.com here, let's see, applos.com, get started. So you can say get started, and that will prompt you for creating an Applos account right there. Once you've done that, then you can bounce over to the text to give page and enable that feature, and then it's on. Now, keep in mind, we're basically doing the promotion for the same length of time. So next month, so starting in April, we're going to do the same promo of signing up and getting a couple of free months worth of text to give. It's only going to be 2 months. So no matter if you did it today or tomorrow or 3 weeks from now, as long as you did it in April, it's still going to be free through the end of June, I think is kind of the term there. So I guess all that to say, there's no real need to do it today. You can do it tomorrow as well if that's more convenient for you. Yes, this session is being recorded. You should get an email from us sometime this week of just a confirmation and a thank you for showing up, as well as the recording of this as well. So if you missed anything, you can watch the recording there. Yeah. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so we'll just call it a day for now. If you have any questions that you think of, it always happens, you know, there's always something like, oh, shoot, should have asked that. That's fine, just ask our support team. Again, use the little chat bubble here when you're logged into the software or on the website for that matter, or call us at 1-888-274-1316. That's on our website as well, 888-274-1316, and our support team is happy to answer any questions you have and or get you routed to the appropriate person to get your questions answered. So thanks for showing up today, and hopefully Text to Give works for your org, especially during this time when you just need to provide the most remote options as possible. Everyone's just sitting home wasting time on their phones anyways, might as well give them the path to give at the same time. So hopefully this works for you. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, thanks for showing up, and we'll see you next time. Take care.